For the next hour, my special guests are Simon Neil, Ben Johnson and James Johnson, also known as Biffy Clyro. From unsigned hopefuls to one of the biggest rock bands around, Opposites, their 6th album, and a double at that, has given them their first ever #1. The band came in to chat and record an acoustic set for the show last week, and they were relaxed and in talkative mood. Hear what they had to say about the writing of the new album, the recording process, and the difficulties they had getting there. But first, from the album Opposites, this is Spanish Radio.
I'm gonna walk to the water's edge, refuse to be cleansed, but struggle in. Your crown don't fit, so vacate the throne and off with your head. I need a shoulder to cry on. I got a heart, I got a reason to love you all. Every single person is not at all our conversation. I'm looking for total dislocation. I always wake to the sound of your voice, and I am floating on an ominous cloud. This dark land looming over the hill, maintain a holy stance and protect your children. I got a heart, I got a reason to love you all. Every single person is not at all our conversation. I'm looking for total dislocation. I've got a tree, it's time to cut it to its knees. Don't wanna rush it, we got to please. We have to glisten as I remain splendid isolation.
Taken from Opposites, the most anticipated new album yet by Biffy Clyro. That is Spanish Radio. And Simon, James and Ben join me right now on the programme. Hello, fellas, how you doing?
Great. It's good to be here.
It is. It's great to have you back. Now, we've just been chatting while that tune was playing, and we reckon the first time you came and played for me, for the BBC, was 10 years ago, at least.
At least,
yeah. So it's been a long time I've been supporting Biffy Clyro, and I tell you what, it fills my heart with joy to see you as the biggest rock band in the UK now. It's without a doubt, isn't it? You are the biggest rock band in the UK.
How do you expect us to reply to that? It's very nice of you. Let's go back to what you said about supporting us. It's really nice that you supported us for this long. You didn't get fed up, you know.
Remember actually the first time I think it was our first proper headline show at Tuts, and you guys played us in the radio at like the back of 8, and we were on at 8:30. I remember us all crowding around the dressing room and going, we're on the radio and playing a sold out gig, and it was like, wow, is it going to get any better than this? And it was one of the most exhilarating nights of our lives, I think. So thank you for that 10 years later, brother.
You are more than welcome, and it's brilliant to see how you've progressed over these albums. And the new album, Opposites, a double album no less. And we just have to quickly talk about that track I've just played, Spanish Radio, which is not a typical Biffy sound. There's a mariachi band in there as well. Tell me a little bit about how that came together.
Well, just the song, right from demo form, from when it was written, kind of suggested this kind of mariachi trumpety vibe, which is strange because I write all the songs in Ayrshire and staring out at the rain, so maybe I was yearning for some sunshine. But yeah, it occurred to me that could work, and then when we went to make the record, we all kind of talked about it and thought, well, let's give it a try. You know, I guess our kind of mission statement in this was no idea was too ridiculous, and we tried it, and it actually blew us away. We could not believe how well it worked, you know, and it was one of those we had to keep listening to it to see, now is this definitely all right, or is this actually so good that it's awful, you know? It blew us away, and it kind of opened up doors for some of the other songs to really push the ludicrous.
Well, I mean, you say ludicrous and you say pushing the boundaries, which of course you do, but over a double album, 20 songs, it is remarkably focused. Why a double album? Simon, I mean, is it just the most creative period of your life just now?
I guess I don't know. I don't really want to say that. Hopefully there'll be an equally as fertile period. But I think that we had confidence coming out of Only Revolutions. You know, we had a belief in ourselves and a belief that people wanted to hear more from us, obviously. And everything kind of just lined up and made sense to make a double album, you know, and it was kind of a no-brainer, which we just believed immediately that it was the right thing to do, you know. I wrote 45 songs all in all, which was the most songs we've ever had for a record, and not all of them are great, don't get me wrong, but we've still got loads left over, so there's going to be tons of new Biffy music over the next kind of 18 months and 2 years. And as always, we like to put out mini EPs with every single, so there'll be plenty of new Biffy stuff for the next while.
Great. And what about the writing process? Because I know you're obviously one of the tightest bands out there. You two, James and Ben, are brothers, as we all know, so that telepathy is obviously going to be there. But as a trio, you've just got that power trio telepathy, which needs to be there. But when you come to writing them, are they all done on an acoustic guitar, Simon? Or, I mean, how out of 20 songs, do they all really come from that same root?
Yeah. There was, I guess there was 3 songs in the record that I wrote on keyboard for the first time ever, which was Skylight, The Fog and Biblical. And normally I would perhaps, if it was a single record, we might have tried to tweak them round to being kind of rock band songs. But because it was a double album, we kind of left them as they were and worked on them in a completely different way. But every song that's got a guitar on it, yeah, just kind of right in my living room. And, you know, you just kind of let them ferment basically in your mind, you know, and yeah, it was a strange period actually. It didn't even feel that productive at the time. It was almost like a relief almost, because we'd been touring for so long, and it was actually a relief to be creative again. And so I didn't really kind of notice what was happening until we took stock of all the songs and everything. So.
And what about the quality control from you guys then? Does he bring in loads of songs and you go, nah, Simon, sorry?
That really, I have to say, doesn't happen too often, or if at all. You know, I think maybe they don't get that far of... I mean, Simon's got his own quality control, so he probably wouldn't bring something in if he didn't think it was good. But no, I mean, I have to say some are kind of more immediate than others. Some sort of, maybe it takes a while for Ben and I to figure out how to rhythmically do it justice or something like that. But no, there's nothing that's terrible.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Back to banger-free zone.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no duffers on there. I'm glad to hear it. Well, you've mentioned the acoustic guitar. I brought it up, and you've kindly brought in your acoustic instruments to play for us today. So you're going to do a first acoustic session now, which is going to be Different People, which is the track that opens the album.
Yep.
Do you want to just tell me quickly what this one's about? Because there's a real sense of heartbreak on this album, I think. I mean, it's called Opposites. You've got tracks like Different People and Black Chandelier. Tell me a little bit about Different People you're just about to play us.
Different People is kind of taking stock of a situation and realising how you can be so close to someone but come at things from such a completely different point of view, and then reaching a point where you just think, sod it, I'm going to disappear, you know, or almost like wish you could just erase everything that ever happened, ever. But it sounds slightly more uplifting than that would perhaps suggest. But yeah, the first album's kind of a bit more about heartbreak and kind of reflecting back on things that perhaps have brought you to a kind of horrible point in your life, and then the second disc is more about trying to take control of your life and not let other people dictate your future for you. I think it's important to try and be in control of your own destiny as much as possible.
Well, it's great to hear you explain all these things for us. Let's hear the first acoustic session track. It's Biffy Clyro on BBC Radio Scotland and Different People.
Baby, when you hold me, I can feel so wrong. You're trying to console me. Your chance has long gone. So baby, won't you take my hand, so we can do what the others can. We are alive tonight. We are alive tonight. I am going home forever and evermore. No, I was never born, and there's no such thing as home. We used to stand so strong. That's why the others have gone. Scintillating and inspirational conversation, death to everyone. Little purpose, little consequence. Too combative, too cool to realize. Different person, different arguments. In my shadow, no more compliments. One more person, breaking the rules again. I'm still waiting for someone else to join in. Stand where the others stand. We're alive tonight. Land where the others land. We're alive tonight. I am going home forever and evermore. No, I was never born, and there's no such thing as home. I used to stand so strong. That's why the others have gone. I am going home forever and evermore. No, I was never born, and there's no such thing as home. We used to stand so strong. That's why the others have gone.
Biffy Clyro in session performing Different People. This is Vic Galloway on BBC Radio Scotland, and this hour of the show is devoted to the Kilmarnock Trio, who are currently celebrating Opposites, going straight into the #1 position on the album chart. When Biffy came into our Pacific Key studio to record the session, they had some exciting festival news which they couldn't yet share. But I can now let you all know that they are going to be headlining the Reading and Leeds festivals this summer. Still to come, 3 more exclusive acoustic songs, and the boys let me know about the writing and recording of the double album and the difficulties that preceded it. But that's all after we hear another new track from the album. This is Modern Magic Formula.
Let me sing my song, or I'm gonna freak out, become a dominator, a violator. You can't give it all that it needs, you can't give it all that it needs. Wow! best I can. But there's a white flag burning in the middle of my hand. I'm tired of being exposed, and I don't know how much more of this I can stand.
It's Biffy Clyro on BBC Radio Scotland, and a complete rocker from the new double album Opposites. That's Modern Magic Formula, one of my favourites. Simon, tell me a little bit about that track.
That's kind of a song about not needing anyone's permission to do what you're wanting to do, really. And it's kind of saying, well, I might have reached the end of my tether, but this is just the way it's going to be, and we will arise together. You know, I guess that's kind of where it's at, and it's kind of saying I'm certainly not going to surrender at any point. So stay strong and kind of believe in yourself, I guess.
Sure, okay. And now the two halves of the album are called, well, the first half is the sand at the core of our bones. Second half is the land at the end of our toes, which is a lyric taken from Sounds Like Balloons. Tell me a little bit about the two titles for each section of the album.
Well, the first title that came to me was The Land at the End of Our Toes, and I really liked the kind of hope in that title, and just the fact that it kind of suggests limitless possibilities and kind of everything that lies in front of you in your life, you know, and so that was the kind of first title, and then The Sand at the Core of Our Bones came along, and I just thought The Sand at the Core of Our Bones is a nice way to kind of describe what's made you as a person and brought you to a certain point, and then The Land at the End of Our Toes is about the limitless possibilities ahead of you, you know. And they just suited the songs, you know.
Yeah, no, well, it's great to have that as well, and I'm sure the fans are gonna. It's an absolute feast for Biffy fans. This album, it really is. Now, Simon's been hogging it. I've been asking him the questions. It's time for you two to answer a few. Tell us a bit about why you've worked with Garth Richardson again, because he seems to be someone that you're going back to time and time again. What's so special about working with him?
I think we've just built up a bit of an understanding. You know, when we worked with him first time around on Puzzle, we kind of butted heads a little bit. We went through some downs before there were ups, I guess. And through those kind of problems, we kind of established a bit of an understanding of, he kind of figured out a little more where we were coming from and vice versa. And I think we just built up a kind of strong relationship. And, you know, I could speak long and hard about what a great producer he is, but I think it's more about the kind of trust and the confidence you have in somebody in that situation.
You know, it was good to work with Garth. He's old school. He likes to do things the hard way, but the right way. You know, we'll always record to tape, and we'll always avoid all plug-ins at all cost. And I think when you're doing a double as well, you know it's going to be quite strenuous on everyone involved. So working with somebody new would have been maybe a bit too much. And Garth knows how ambitious we are, and like when we say to him we want to put mariachi on this song, he's not going to try and laugh us out the room. He's going to go, okay, I know these guys, and I know that they have a vision, and it will probably work. So he makes it happen. Yeah, I think we really pushed Garth to the very edges,
to breaking point.
Clinging on at the end.
Really
as well as the mariachi band, which we've talked about, there's also different kinds of instrumentation in there. Something that people have been maybe giving you a little bit of a hard time about, bagpipes in Stinging Bell.
I take that in the chin.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that.
I totally love that. I think it totally works. And you know, so where did that come from? Why was that?
Well, that song, at its core, when you listen to that, we're going to do it acoustically, it does sound kind of like a Scottish folk song. It has that kind of movement to it anyway. And we had this big kind of almost stoner rock, kind of space rock jam out a bit at the end. It was just screaming out for a solo, but certainly not a guitar solo. And it had to be the bagpipes.
Yeah, and I bet Garth in LA was kind of enjoying that.
Well,
as well.
he was, but again, I think with most of the suggestions. He was like, "What? Are you guys off your head?" You know. But yeah. Then once he heard it and the music, he agreed that it obviously works.
Yeah, and there seem to be more keyboards in the album as well. A few synth sounds in there as well. Now, you writing on keyboards for the first time, Simon. Have you always been a keyboard player? I wasn't aware that you were.
No, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I cannot play piano or keyboards, but I can write a song in anything. Basically, let's get a song going, guys. Right now, pretty melodies kind of work in most things, but because I've now got a wee recording set up in the house, so when we were doing demos for the first time, we weren't just working with guitar, bass, and drums and vocals. There was options there when we were demoing to try nice new sounds. So, like the bagpipes thing, we put lots of organs and things in the demos, and suddenly it just sounded like it was bagpipes, so it made sense. And sometimes when you know an instrument inside out, you can kind of almost slip into default settings of what you know works. You know, like if you play a chord here, you know that if it goes there, it's going to be pretty, or if it goes there, it's going to be abrasive. And I like the freedom of keyboard because I don't know any of the notes or anything or what works. It's sometimes you get nice wee surprises, and I kind of really appreciate that after 6 albums to kind of feel like I'm still learning in some element of music, you know, and so that makes me sound really arrogant there, but you know, like
No, at all. I think it makes you
like
sound quite humble, actually. I mean, yeah, you're always finding new ways of writing and composing and so on, and it does makes you feel like an amateur again, a beginner. But I tell you what, it's a phenomenal track. Why don't we hear you do an acoustic version of Stinging Bell right now? Is that okay?
Let's do it.
Biffy Clyro on BBC Radio Scotland, an acoustic of Stinging Bell.
You say love, I say killing time. What's mine is yours, and yours is mine. You made me laugh, I made you cry. I guess that rhymes. You're contained by floors and walls. I'm contained by your control. You're overthrown, but underworn. I told you so. We're singing for this singing bell. She's clearly lost her way, craving all the simple times inside her tragic day. Throw some balls and speak your mind. You think you're cool, like a porcupine. You're more like doves, they're taking flight. The sky is mine. We're singing for the singing bell. She's clearly lost her way, craving all the simple times beside her tragic day. We're singing for the singing bell. She's clearly lost her way, craving all the simple times beside her tragic day. We're singing for the stinging bell. 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 We're singing for this stinging bell.
Playing acoustically here on the Vic Galloway Show, it's Biffy Clyro on BBC Radio Scotland and Stinging Bell. Simon, James and Ben are here with me. It's great to have you back on the show. I always love hanging out with you guys. When did I last see you? It was probably at that DVD launch.
No,
it was Hogmanay.
It was a messy Hogmanay. Let's not blank
you're
that
hoping
out.
we'd forgotten that one.
Oh, yeah, I may have forgotten that one. That's right, you headlined Hogmanay celebrations in Edinburgh, in front of Edinburgh Castle.
We did indeed.
And then there was a wee party afterwards, which I'm just going to... Well, I can't really remember much about anyway. What a phenomenal thing to do there as well.
Yeah, I
it was
mean,
fun.
that was an amazing feeling. You know, it was. We don't really see ourselves necessarily as a kind of party band, but it was just amazing to be a part of those celebrations. And I don't think any of us had been to Edinburgh for the Hogmanay before, so to play and to be a part of it and witness everyone having the time of their lives was amazing.
Yeah, and it was sub-zero temperatures, and you still had the tops off. Taps off.
Absolute taps off. Solidarity.
And Tartan Trews, if I remember.
Yes, yeah.
A good touch. What about the venues you're playing now? Because, you know, as we've already established, I saw you when you were playing the Vodka Bar in Belmont Street in Aberdeen, and your first kind of run of small venue gigs around Scotland. It's now arenas and enormodomes, isn't it? What's happening on this forthcoming tour in March and April?
We're going to try and make it. I sound like I don't know what I sound like here, but we're going to try and make it bigger and better than ever before. And I think it's important in these shows is to try and make it a bit of a spectacle. You know, we don't see ourselves as entertainers, but we want people to come and feel like they've been for an amazing night out. And I think trying to marry that with some sort of intimacy in a big room is something that's quite a challenge, and I think something that we enjoy that challenge, you know.
Yeah, have you got pyrotechnics and explosions and all sorts of stuff happening on this tour?
There might be things like that. I don't want to give too much away, but we'll keep it tasteful.
We're practicing fire breathing after this interview.
Oh, really? That's what I want to see. It can only be the next move for Biffy Clyro, is to actually breathe fire on stage. Now, I'm sure you're bound by contracts and all these kind of things, but will you be playing in a field in Scotland at any point during 2013? Can you say that?
Unfortunately not.
No?
We were hoping to get an offer to perhaps headline or something the 20th anniversary, but no.
Okay.
Unfortunately, nothing's come through yet. So
you sound a little bit miffed by that, but
well, we were
a little disappointed.
You know,
perhaps.
we don't want to talk too much. There's always things going on. You know, maybe it'll end up happening. But no, I mean, we were 2 years away from Tees. Sad for us, but. I guarantee if we're not there this year, we will definitely be there next year. But
so let's just put it in the bag. Headline slot 2014 at Tina
that
Park.
sounds all right.
Okay. Is that an offer?
I'll make it happen for you. If only it were that easy, lads. It's the SECC in Glasgow, sold out already. The AECC in Aberdeen, sold out already. The O2 in London, and all sorts of arenas around the country. I mean, does it still give you the shivers before you go on stage?
Oh, absolutely. I think we never saw ourselves as a band that would ever kind of get to this scale or size, and I think we always have pinch ourselves moments. You know, I think we kind of forget what's happening. You know, and I think it's a healthy way to be. You know, it doesn't infiltrate every day of our lives, but it also then means when we turn up to these venues, it's like, oh my God, this is where we're playing. And you know, we want to make those concerts artistically valid but still a spectacle and still entertaining. And you know, I think we're still kind of finding our feet in that regard. In the last year or so, or couple of years, we've become a lot more comfortable playing these large shows, and I think this will be our best tour yet. There's no doubt about that, and we can't wait to play these new songs. There's almost like rules you can apply after, like your first album you can play for half an hour, 2 albums, you know, you get an hour, and then it kind of so on. And I think at 6 albums, you know, you're kind of entitled to play for 2 hours, and even we could play for longer than that. But you know, there's certain songs that the fans want to hear. There's certain songs that we want to play, and we've got these new ones that we're dying to air. So it's going to be a weird balancing act, but we will have a nod of the cap to every single one of our records because we are so proud of them all. But you know, the new stuff will dominate. Yeah, well, I mean, it's all very well for you two, you know, James and Simon leaping about with guitars, but Ben, you've got to be knackered by a set like that.
Yeah, we'll see.
You're looking healthy, actually. All of you are looking very fit and healthy, it has to be said. You're ready for touring. What about the whole tour schedule? Because you've always worked hard as a band. Leaving family behind. That's got to be a real bind. How does that all work? Because do they come with you now?
That's one of the great positives about things going slightly better for us as a band, is that we can now afford to bring our families out, and it's really great to share these experiences. And you know, it's tough when you're in a bus for a month, you know, because no one in their right mind wants to come on that bus, you know, unless you're kind of doing the shows. I mean, it can be quite hard work. So it's a shame when we're actually on the road. I guess our wives and girlfriends don't really come out that much, but it's kind of a necessary evil, and they understand that, you know, we've been with our partners for so long that they really understand everything we've put into this, and they know how much it means to us, and so they're very supportive. But it does get tough, you know, but I certainly don't want to complain, because we're so fortunate with what we do. But that's the one downside. If you could bring your family and friends with you everywhere, then this would be the perfect job, you know.
Okay, well, let's have another track from you, because you're primed to play some more acoustic stuff for us. You're going to do us a version of the current single Black Chandelier. Yeah, acoustic?
Yeah.
Okay, Biffy Clyro here on BBC Radio Scotland.